Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Terri Carta, and I represent Brooklyn Greenway Initiative. BGI is a private nonprofit organization that has been focused for nearly 2 decades on the development, establishment, and long-term stewardship of the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway, which is a 26-mile protected and landscaped route for pedestrians and cyclists of all ages and abilities that encircles the borough of Brooklyn and connects with Queens on both sides. The Greenway adds new mobility options for transit-starved residential and business communities and connects workers to new and growing job centers along the waterfront and to the Manhattan and Queens Greenway networks. BGI enthusiastically supports the proposed bill and the vision it puts forth for our city, particularly around the safety, mobility, and quality of life improvements it will deliver. BGI is especially excited about the bill's focus on building a complete network and its requirements to measure and report the network connectivity index on an annual basis and as the master plan is updated in 5-year intervals. Our experience with the Greenway is that as segments are implemented, they become immediately popular and are used by commuters, recreational runners and cyclists, families, and even local businesses delivering goods to market in small cargo bites. We've even seen adaptive bicycles on the Greenway as well. Perhaps the best example of this is the Greenway segment along Kent Avenue in Williamsburg. In 2012, DOT took a bold step to reconfigure Kent Avenue to allow for a bidirectional protected bike lane and separate pedestrian route. Now it's one of the most heavily used commuter routes in all of New York City, and on the weekend it's packed with other types of commuters, if you will. People, local residents and others visiting waterfront parks, the shopping corridor, and local restaurant scene. This success story has been repeated for the Greenway segments from Brooklyn Bridge Park through Red Hook, along the Shore Parkway Greenway, among others, demonstrating the incredible public demand and the immediate benefits afforded by the Greenway. However, it can't fulfill its full potential until remaining gaps are filled and the route is fully connected. So BGI also applauds the proposed bill's focus on accountability to bold targets and supports all efforts that enable DOT to take a more strategic and proactive approach to implementation of the Greenway and other protected facilities for pedestrians and cyclists. We strongly believe that the connectivity index is the way to ensure that targets are met in the most impactful way. And frankly, the previous approach toward implementation, quote, as funds and opportunities arise, simply isn't sufficient. Implementation funds need to be fully allocated, not found. Coordinating support for the bold targets outlined in this bill among city agencies and within our communities is the only way that we can reach these goals. Closing major gaps in the Greenway, which exist in Red Hook, Sunset Park, Coney Island, and Dumbo, should be addressed within the scope of the first master plan to be issued on October 1st, 2019, which would deliver a completed Greenway by October 2024. It can be done within 5 years when we're all aligned on goals and targets, and would immediately benefit Brooklyn's 2.65 million residents, over 1.1 million employees, and 15 million visitors from across the city and around the world. BGI looks forward to continuing to work with the city and other stakeholders to move the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway to completion as a critical trunk route in the overall network that has been described today. A leading factor to growth in Greenway use is perceived and real safety benefits that such a protected route offers. Prioritizing completion of the Greenway will move us more swiftly toward Vision Zero standards as greater numbers of people using all mobility options live and work along the waterfront. Thank you for bringing this conversation to the fore with council members, and thank you, Chair Rodriguez and the Transportation Committee for the opportunity to testify before you today.